Hey everyone, looks like we have something big, new, exciting and even game-changing in EVE Echoes this week. And no, I'm not talking about the latest Interstellar Bazaar big spending event that I can never seem to be able to spell properly to make the rounds, but instead the introduction of Black Ops and Needlejacks. At the time of recording this video, the update has been live for at least a few days now, so many of you may have already tried out these new ships, modules and game mechanics. But for those of you that haven't had a chance to log in properly for most of the week like myself, let's have a look at them for ourselves. But before I do, don't forget to check out that almighty subscribe button. So first and foremost, we're going to head over to the announcements section, and I am going to actually press the right button. If I can press the right button, I'm not sure my brain will allow me to. And we have our announcements. Now don't worry, I'm not going to go through it all word for word. We're just going to have a quick look at what there is in this patch before we actually log into the game. So first and foremost, we have Capital Fleet Cynosual Field Generators. So now certain capital ships can now fit Cyno Field Generators. I believe it is the... God, what are they called? I should have written this in the notes before. The VACs. The VAC. The VAC, the Versatile Assault Carriers. There we go. It even says it in here. I'd be better off reading this verbatim, wouldn't I? Anyway, they can now fit capital Cynosual Field Generators. And according to this, they are significantly more powerful than your typical Cynosual Field Generator. In fact, we can operate these even in a system whereby there is a jammer up in place. So that's going to be interesting. Now there's no guarantee that when you have a Cyno jammer, that no one is still going to Cyno in on you. There's always going to be a way. And we'll move on to now the Cynosual... I'm reading things backwards, I swear. The Covert Cynosual Field Generator. Now this one can be fitted by Covert Op ships, which is going to be quite interesting to see. Now, Covert Op ships cannot jump to this Cyno. They can only light the Cyno, which is going to be interesting. The Cyno itself is difficult to detect and offers high stability and can be activated even under the interference of a Cynosual jammer tower. Yeah, I did read that bit out because my brain would completely jumble it up if I didn't. The new Special Ops battleships can recognise this type of Cynosual signal. Ordinary capital ships cannot jump to this beacon. So that's an interesting thing to note there. Capital ships cannot jump to the covert Cynos. The only things that can are the new Black Ops ships, which is interesting. It's also worth noting that I haven't seen anything yet that states that the Black Ops ships can create a bridge for smaller ships to jump along with it. My understanding is that you need the fleet of smaller ships to already be in system around the ship that's Cynoing, and the Special Ops battleships, the Black Ops battleships, will be jumping in onto that beacon. And as we'll find out later into this video, we'll find out why exactly those battleships need the ability to jump instead of just flying and keeping up with the rest of the fleet. But let's move along. We can obtain these from loot crates, from scout anomalies and waste seeker checkpoints. Let's move along after that. So we have, of course, the new Special Ops battleships. We'll be seeing these a bit further on into the game. But we have the Armageddon, the Scorpion, the Dominix and the Typhoon. They all have variants. We also have Needlejack filaments. Now, Needlejacks are the interesting ones here, because the purpose of the Needlejack is you buy this item off of the market, and I'll show you the items when we go further into the game. You buy this item off the market or go and get it off of the current method of obtaining, which is from obtaining by scanning data sites. So you undock in space, you get together a fleet of friends of up to 5 people. If you have a Needlejack 5, if you have a 1, then that's only for you. When you activate it and you go through whatever menus are available, you jump through to a random nullsec system. And it is completely random. And as you'll see further down in the patch notes, we have the signal 1, the signal 5, the noise 1 and the noise 5. The signal 1 allows you to jump one individual, that being the person that's using it, to a random nullsec system that has other players in it. The signal 5 jumps up to 5 people to the same sort of system. The noise ones, 1 and 5, again the same principle as the signal 1 and 5, but this time they jump you to an unoccupied nullsec system. So if you want to jump into a nullsec system to get some PvE done before sneaking back out again, the noise ones might be suitable for you. But if you want to jump into a random nullsec system and guarantee some good old PvP, then the signals are the ones that you want. It's quite interesting. You can now get anywhere you, well, not anywhere you want. It's still completely random. You have no control over where you're going. But you can still get into an area where there's going to be a fight to be had with the click of a finger now, which is pretty interesting. It's going to offer a lot of interesting dynamics when it comes to home defense nowadays, because intel channels aren't going to be enough, are they? But anyway, I'm going to close off the game announcement now, and we're going to cut to me already being in-game, because I'm not going to go through the rest of what we have in the in-game announcements. So we're back in-game again now, and where we're going to start off is with the current event. I know this isn't a video that's meant to be a walkthrough for the entire event, but it is worth noting that just like in previous events whereby a ship release has come simultaneous to the event, we do have the ability once again to get the ship in a box. So if we go to the events, to the Ops Agent events, and have a look at level 20. Now I might have skipped over it, it might be available at an earlier level, but at the very least at level 20 we have our Special Ops Battleship option box. Of course you will need to pay Aurum to unlock this extra level, this extra line of the levels, however it's worded, I can never remember. But anyway, this is where you can get most of the ships. You don't have to build it in-game, mine all the resources to get it. You can just get it from this option box and keep on redeeming it with insurance. But as I've seen from a recent kill mail on Damon Zell's channel, the Echoes from the Front, there we go, not Echoes of New Eden, Echoes from the Front. He did show a kill mail that was, I believe, 25 billion or maybe 35 billion. I honestly can't remember now, but it was a big number. So you might not want to claim them on insurance this early on. But anyway, let's have a look at one of these ships. I'm going to start off with the Amar ship, the Armageddon Special Ops, mainly because I like Amar ships and there's no point going through all of them. And what we can see, if I can refrain from accidentally closing it, is it's a Tech 10 ship and its role bonuses are quite interesting. It can be fitted with sinusoidal field generators, so it can light its very own sinos. So what you could have here is a piggyback system. You could have your covert ops ships fly into the system in question, light their own sinos, their covert ops sinos. This can jump in whenever whatever the objective is has been completed, and there is no restriction anymore over the ability to sino in capitals. This thing could light its sino beacon for capitals. I don't know, that sounds like a very situational situation there, because I'm not even entirely sure what situation that'd apply to. So let's move on. Let's not try to plan some mystery event that will never make sense under the sun. So it can be fitted with sinusoidal field generators. It actually says that twice. Can be fitted with it plural and singular. I don't know what's going on there, but let's move along. So of course we have our jump drive. That's the ability to jump to a covert ops sinusoidal signal, which it states there it can recognise. And this is the bit where we get to the cloaking. Now we'll notice here that it does not state under the role bonuses that it can fit a covert ops cloaking device. That is the one thing that would allow it to keep up with the regular fleet, being able to move around completely covertly. Instead, its cloaking role bonuses are a reduction of 100% to the cloaking device lock delay a 50% reduction to its reactivation delay. So those two things make it so that using a cloak can be quite powerful on this ship, but it can't fit a covert ops cloak. So yeah, it's going to struggle to move around as freely as the rest of the smaller ships, hence the requirement to use the jump drive. Now, one thing I also find quite interesting about all of this is you've also got a lot more bonuses going on with this ship. You have 50% shield extender shield bonuses, and the same again for armor plate hit point bonuses. So you're getting a lot more out of those PvP specific modules. We also don't have just 2 skills to worry about for maxing out this ship. Here with the Armageddon, we have Expert Large Laser Operation, Expert Large Drone Operation, Expert Electronic Warfare, and Expert Battleship Command. That right there is 4 skills to be trained up to Expert, not Advanced or Basic, Expert. There is a lot here to dump your skill points into, if that is something for you. So what are the implications of Black Ops ships before we move on to Needlejacks? Well, it means now that you don't have to worry about it just being a capital ship that Cyno's on top of you. You can also have Black Ops battleships Cyno on top of you. So let's say you're ratting or mining in something really expensive, maybe you're in a raw crawl or a Nidhogger, and one neutral comes into system. Usually one neutral, if you're in something really big and nasty and it's just one neutral, you've got a couple of friends in system and there's nothing on the intel channels, you're fine, aren't you? You say, I'll align to station, and odds are if this person tries to jump me, I'll kill them before anything happens, right? But the moment they land on top of you and light that Cyno, you don't know how many Black Ops ships are going to jump through, Black Ops battleships that is, land on top of it, lock you down and start mincing you. You don't know, because these things could be outside of your intel range. Hell, if we have a look at the jump range for these things, they start off with a 4 light year jump range, and with F3 upgrade of the Expert Battleship Command, you get an extra 0.2 light years. It's entirely possible over the coming months that we see a new nanocore, unless there is one that already exists, in which case let me know in the comment section below. That would further increase the jump range of the Armageddon Special Ops or other Special Ops ships. If I had to guess, which one was it? Was it the Golden Age nanocore, something like that, or there was a certain anniversary nanocore that came with the Sunchaser jump system. It's entirely possible that Sunchaser jump system nanocore that had the bonuses of increasing the jump range by a certain amount of light years could maybe increase the jump range of this ship. If anybody's able to test that out for me, that would be brilliant. Let me know in the comment section below if that particular nanocore would allow you to increase the jump range even further, because that would probably revitalise that nanocore. But anyway, at some point in the future, there will be a way to increase that jump range even further. So, one neutral isn't always just one neutral anymore. That's one thing worth bearing in mind. So next up, we're going to head to the market and have a look at the Needlejacks that are now currently in game. So if we go all the way down to other items and go to Spatial Rift Filaments at the very bottom, the bottom of the bottom, we have all 4 of our brand new Needlejacks available on the market. And as we can see, the Signal 1 is currently going for around 80 million ISK. Signal 5, 290. Wow, that is expensive, but you are bringing 5 people along with you. The Noise 1 for discreetly jumping into a system with no one in, 48 million ISK. And for bringing a fleet with you, 98 million ISK. So the Noise ones are a lot cheaper. That implies that people for the most part want to use these for finding PvP. Hence them looking for the Signal ones, whereby the system itself is occupied. So let's have a look at these filaments. The route construction time is 20 seconds, so that's how long it's going to take for it to actually figure out where it wants to drop you. And of course there will be menu buttons that you have to press throughout the process. It has a maximum of 1 ship. Of course, the Signal 5 will give you 5 ships. And you have combat duration. That is essentially your weapons timer. So you will not be able to do certain activities once you have jumped through to the other side for a total of 3 minutes, 180 seconds. Your route jump range is 10 kilometers. So 10 kilometers, I presume that's a... I honestly don't know that bit there. I'm thinking like the radius around a Stargate for interacting with it and jumping out of it at the other side, that sort of thing. Jumping capacitor need. Here's an interesting one. 95% capacitor requirement. And we'll check to see if that is the same across all of them. 95% and 95%. So one interesting design element that I've noticed here with these Needlejacks is they are intended to be launched from a safe location into a potentially dangerous location and not the other way around. So what we're seeing is to be able to use it, you need at least 20 seconds. So if you're under attack and you're constantly taking damage, you could be dead. Having activated it and waiting for it to plot a course, your ship could be destroyed before you actually make the jump. In addition, you need 95% capacitor. That means if you're caught up in combat, you probably can't activate any of your modules. And if you're being neutralized, odds are you've got less than 95%. So these are not quick escape buttons for getting out of wherever you are. These are getting into combat buttons from safe locations. So that is one thing that is worth bearing in mind. Yes, technically you could use one of these to escape from enemy space. In fact, if you're staged pretty... Ooh, that is an idea actually. Let's say you're staged in enemy space for a CTA. The staging location moves after you've attended your CTA, but you were not able to actually move with the fleet. And you're flying one of these fancy new Black Ops battleships from this very update, which means you can't afford to use Dormant Realm insurance fraud to be able to freely move it, because it'd still empty out your insurance points. What you could do in this scenario is autopilot in an interceptor, one of these Needlejacks, to the same system, to the same station, because of course you'll be in an NPC station no doubt. You can use one of these Needlejacks to take your battleship to another random Nullsec system. Now of course it will be a complete gamble as to what Nullsec system that you landed in, but depending on what side of the map you're blue to, you could land in like the blue half of the map for you and just be able to freely and effortlessly just fly to somewhere a bit safer. So yeah, I guess these things do have other uses to them. But let me know in the comment section below if you've had any experiences with them so far. I'd be interested to hear some of your experiences. But yeah, what does this mean before I round off the video? What does this mean for the average player in, I don't know, high sec, low sec, null sec? High sec and low sec doesn't mean anything for you in terms of having to defend against them, because these only drop players in null security space. And the implications that it has is if you're in, let's say you're in a Science C. Let's say you've decided to go ratting in the Science C. You're the only person in your corp that's actually in system ratting at the moment. And you've got your intel channels open. People are fluidly reporting intel. You know there's an enemy fleet 15 jumps away. You're keeping an eye out for it. They're nowhere near. You've got nothing to worry about. Then 5 people jump through and immediately scan you down and land on top of you whilst you're still aligning to get to the station. You've got no warning, and it'll just happen with the click of a finger. And for all you know, these could be 5 apocalypse strikers, for all you know, just completely built to take out capital ships. Intel will no longer be enough. When you undock expensive ships in Nullsec, you have to make sure you actually have sufficient support around you to defend against a potential five-man fleet of battleships appearing out of thin air. That's the new dynamic that ratters in Nullsec are going to have to look forward to. And I'm quite excited to see that because things in Nullsec are a little bit stale at times. There's no anticipation. There's no need to react to things. Now there is. Anything can happen with the click of a finger. And I'm going to love this. Now, what about if you're a player that lives in High-Sec? You don't ever go out into Nullsec. You just do what you do in High-Sec. This could be an ample opportunity for you to get some PvP experience in. Because if you're a High-Sec player and you're not allied with anybody on the map, nobody is blue to you in this whole server war, donut situation, whatever you want to call it. If you're not blue to anyone, then every time you activate the Signal 1 or the Signal 5 Needlejacks, you're going to land in hostile territory with other players in system that you are allowed to shoot at. You have a better value for money out of these Needlejacks than any Nullsec player, because the rest of the Nullsec players have run the risk of just landing in a blue system when they activate one of these. For example, if I decided to activate one of these in Jita and I landed anywhere in Declan, that would just be a complete waste because Declan is blue to me. But if I landed on the other side of the map, say, I don't know, I can't even remember where is on the other side of the map, to be honest. I don't look at the map very often. Let's go with Quirius. There we go. I'm guessing Quirius isn't blue to me. Taylor Rick can tell me off for not knowing the politics, I guess, if he has to. But you get what I'm saying here. For high-sec players, you have the ability to instantly jump into any Nullsec area, get some nice PvP combat in, and if you go in a relatively cheap ship, let's say a Punisher Assault, you're not really going to be losing all that much, and you might get an awful lot of fun, a few juicy kill mails. This could revive the game. But anyway, I think I might have turned this video into something of a ramble video. In fact, let me just open up OBS. I want to see. I know I've got some of this cut. This is where I have to wait for my Bluetooth mouse to actually wake up. I have been recording for 24 minutes. Now I know a chunk of that will be cut. But yeah, this is probably better considered a ramble video at this point. But anyway, yeah, thanks again for watching and listening, everyone. The next video that I will be doing will be just a quick walkthrough for the current Interstellar Bazaar event. I say quick walkthrough, you never know, I might end up rambling just like I have here. But it should be fairly quick, I should hope, anyway. But who knows, I've got to get my watch time numbers up, I guess. But anyway, yeah, thanks again for watching and listening. Feel free to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, especially, I'm really struggling with my words right now, aren't I? Especially if you like listening to a British guy ramble and rant about a game that he loves. But anyway, thanks again, I'll cut it there, and fly casual in New Eden.